Hello and welcome everyone back to Velocity Volume 3, benefiting the Movember Foundation. Wonderful to see you all again and thank you all for your patience. We have a Mega Man Xtreme 2, now 100% NG+. First run of its kind out here. TempestMask1000, take it away.
Thank you so much, Usurpering, and I am very excited indeed to be showing this off to you all. First off, hello, my name is Tempest. Some of you may know me as Steve, and this is my debut game of being a speedrunner. It's Mega Man Xtreme 2, but today we'll be playing the Japanese version called Rockman X2 Solar Racer, because text is faster by at least a minute, so it's the more optimal version of the game, and, well, I mean, that's about it. Otherwise, nice, shiny, and different title screen graphics, so there's that too. But anyway, yes, as the host mentioned, we will be showing off a category that is the first of its kind for this game, because for the longest time, Xtreme's categories have either been any percent or 100% based on the three modes of X Mission, Zero Mission, and Extreme Mode, or Xtreme. So, in this case, I always felt like there was going to be something that you could use, this little nifty feature that I'll explain about during the run, and, well, here we are today. Now, before we begin, I do want to confirm, it's X that won the bid war, right?
Yes, it is X Mission that ran the bid war. Good words. Won the bid war. There we go.
Heck yeah. We get our boy... Whoops. Wrong X. This ain't Command Mission. Nah, but for real. This is going to be pretty cool. Funny enough, the first time I did a NG Plus run in preparation of the whole concept was more for Zero, but hey, this is good because there is something that's kind of special in doing it this way. Let's begin, but before we do, I'm going to quickly show off my settings as they currently are. So select is set to Scramble Change, as it's called in the Japanese version. It's really just a character swap feature. It's a little fancy name they put in for that, though. This is auto charge. It's turned off, and rapid fire is turned on. These two apply to X. The other select feature is changing X's weapon, which I could technically do, but I'll think about this one. For now, I want to go into continue menu, and there is an autosave feature. Whenever you touch a checkpoint and enter the continue menu, the game asks if you want to reload that point, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to start time once I select yes within this file, so we'll begin. Actually, Usurpering, would you like to do the countdown?
Alright, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go! We're off to the races, and oh, it couldn't be a better time to do so. Alright, so here's how this works. In Mega Man Xtreme 2, you start off when getting the game fresh and actually brand new with just X Mission and Zero Mission. In order to unlock Extreme Mode, what you have to do is either get enough what's called DNA souls, which we'll talk about that a little later, in order to unlock the Extreme part to you, unless your backup battery within the cartridge or the game's file were to suddenly go corrupt. Otherwise, there is completing both campaigns, but it's not that easy. See, you have to do it in a particular way that is the basis behind the New Game Plus category. So, how this works is you beat X Mission, and then you get to save a file after the credits to... Oops, did we cut out? Okay, there we go.
Dude.
Never mind. Sorry, I'm going to pretend I ignored that. But here's the first boss, Skullhead. I lovingly and affectionately call him Mega Skeletor because he's basically like Skeletor from He-Man undergoing Gen 6 Mega Evolution. It's a stupid name, but it's just a little tradition because if you've seen people play Mega Man X3, you've probably heard them call Mao the Giant, the intro boss, Mr. Fisty McGee, so I took a vein from that one. Anyway, with that said, we just met Gareth, and he is the first of two Solar Racers in this game, hence why the name of the game is Rockman X2 Solar Racer in Japan. However, there's another one, so we're not going to worry about Gareth. The thing is that between choosing X mission and Zero mission, you're actually playing half of the game. And even when you do both, there's still a little bit of extra content that only Extreme mode gives you access to. But as I was trying to explain, when you've beaten X mission or Zero mission, at the end of the credits, Iris gives you a congrats message, and you get to save a file. If you do so and then load it, you start the other campaign, and they begin with all of the weapons from the Mavericks that they could have fought but didn't, and are exclusive normally to the other character's campaign. So we're going to buy some parts right away, because one of the nice things about New Game Plus is that when you save the file and start it up again, you have all the DNA souls that you've collected from the previous playthrough. Now this is important because DNA souls are the diamond-shaped white center health and weapon refill pickups, and there is a different kind of a small health pickup that does not count as this. Just to give a little comparison, it's a little more flat looking, but this serves as the part system that you may be familiar with normally seeing in other X games like X5 or X6. Arguably, the part system in Xtreme 2 is a lot more convenient, and probably the most convenient of the X franchise as a whole. Because as you just saw right there, the part that I bought actually gives X his entire armor from the get-go. This is something that requires normally collecting 2,000 DNA souls, and you have to make sure they're unspent. The game otherwise does not count the DNA soul total that you've collected altogether, and thus you can't unlock the part unless your unspent total is, well, a particular number. There is a resource that I believe it's called Strategy Wiki or something like that, which has a page on this game that if you're curious as to what each unlock value for each part is, you can go ahead and go to there. It's not always documented, which, you know, it definitely took me a little time to understand the logistics behind it in order to learn the normal categories there. But, you know, it is what it is. As for the DNA soul values for the stage pickups when you normally get them from enemies, single clusters, as I call them, are 4 DNA souls, double clusters are 2 DNA souls, triple clusters can either be 16 normally, but sometimes the game might do a little weird thing with the coding and instead give you 12. And then when you beat a boss like Skullhead at the beginning, that's 200 DNA souls at a time, which is huge. Unfortunately, the game also likes to sometimes cut that in half to 100 DNA souls. And God forbid that were to happen in a Zero mission run. Believe me, that would not look good for me. But here we go. Cavolt Catfish. So normally I don't fight him first. He's a lot easier to deal with his weakness, but because we have X's armor, my damage is cut in half, so it does make trying to handle his attacks a little bit easier in that regard, and therefore I'm actually taking a bit of a risk, because if I were to normally do 100% otherwise, I'd rather take the safety and go with Neon Tiger. But we should be good, and there was definitely a deathless catfish. I love it. I love it. Alright, cool. So, the reason that the intended 100% X mission route goes for catfish first is because it reduces the amount of backtracking you have to do. But theoretically with getting the armor parts from the get-go, we technically don't have to do backtracking at all. Because the only thing I really need to get in order to make this an 100% run at this point are the 4 life-ups within each of the Maverick stages, a single sub-tank, which is located in Flame Mammoth's level, and then the Shotokan upgrade, which is the Hadouken and Shoryuken rolled into one package, and is something that you would have seen also in the original Mega Man Xtreme. So it's back in this game. Unfortunately, it's not as powerful as its original versions through X1 and X2, sadly. But it is pretty nice that they did try to make it a little easier, because you don't have to do the quarter turn up or whatever Street Fighter inputs in order to get the thing. I almost thought that I had to double back to take care of the battleship up there, but I forgot that I already have the armor. if you've played X1, you might know that taking care of the battleship to open up the floor and fight the Sea Dragon boss, also known as Utuboros, you would naturally get a life up after defeating him, but in this game, it's actually the body armor. The thing about Xtreme 2 is that you might notice some similar level design here and there to past games, but unlike Xtreme 1, which was pretty faithful to a T, the Xtreme 2 logic of stage building does try to make things a bit more original, so it's one of the reasons I personally prefer this game, but that's not to say that Xtreme 1 is bad by any stretch of the imagination. I've gotten pretty accustomed to it, or just watching it in general, that I kind of like it all the same. These two games are really cool, honestly. Alright, so here's Launch Octopus. Now, I don't have a weapon that would make this fight a little easier, but I'm willing to take a go at it anyway, because technically I do have his weakness. And by the way, the other part you saw me get from the shop was Buster Plus 1. Now, I would have wanted to get Buster Plus 2, but the file that I created for all intents and purposes within the time I had before my run at this marathon, which was today, by the way, I didn't want to waste too long because I knew that I was going to run out of time eventually, and so I was able to at least get enough souls for the armor. And yes, you're hearing me right. This file is kind of impromptu. I thought I had it earlier, like way earlier, but turns out it was just 0, so oh well. But yeah, that was Launch Octopus. Now, a thing about him is that if I had Neon Tiger's Ray Claw, I could have cut off his tentacles and forced him to just continuously jump and shoot missiles. But then again, he can also be a bit of a pain that way. So, you know, in a way, I guess I'm sort of just saving myself some trouble, really. But the potential of this category could go in many ways, so you never know. With that said, we're now 2 Mavericks down, and every time you defeat 2 Mavericks, you get introduced to Berkana. She's technically the creator of Gareth, but she's also the other Soul Eraser of this game, and as such, she's kind of the bad guy that will also serve as our final boss. She's also a female Reploid, something that you don't see take a villainous role within Mega Man games, period. So this is kind of a rarity in a sense, and I honestly wish we had a bit more, because as much as I don't mind Ferrum from Command Mission, I do think Berkana takes the role of a villain much more effectively here, but all the same, we are now in Flame Mammoth's level, and I'm going to just first boost myself... Oh no, that wasn't good. I'm going to boost myself up here, and I'm going to break these blocks because silly Capcom decided, hey, let's bring back the breakable blocks from X1 that you either needed the leg parts or the head part to destroy, I guess. I'm going to get the life up here. Don't worry, the lava is not instant kill, and neither are the fireballs, but if you were playing Extreme mode, they actually are. It's kind of weird when you think about this, but... you know, that's the funny thing, too. There are some bits about Extreme mode that change certain portions of the gameplay, namely in, like, damage value and stuff, when you compare X Mission and Zero Mission to Extreme mode. But anyway, I'm just going to stop talking for a bit, and we're going to encounter Flame Mammoth, but while we do so, I'd like to give the floor to the host to say anything, so go right ahead.
Fantastic. Honestly, your energy really makes me envy, like, oh my god, I wish I had your energy right now. My dude, that is fantastic. You're really doing so well right now. Just want to remind everyone that Velocity Volume 3 is benefiting the Movember Foundation. All proceeds will go to the Movember Foundation, benefiting research towards men's mental health and suicide prevention, prostate cancer, and testicular cancer. Since 2003, Movember has funded more than 1,250 men's health projects around the world, challenging the status quo, shaking up men's mental and physical health research, and transforming the way health services reach men and support men. Absolutely fantastic, and we do have a bid war going on right now for the rolled out Summer Surprise collab pack, which is coming up next after this run. At the moment, we have Rook, the field unit, in first place with $50. You can choose between Rook, the field unit, Guava the koala, and Flotsam the axolotl. I'm a little bit like sour that Flotsam the axolotl's in second place right now, but a few cheeky donations, I'm sure you guys can help us out on that a little bit. And don't forget, it's coming up next after this run. So yeah, thank you all for watching, thank you all for your kind donations, and we hope to see some more.
Heck yeah, and Rolled Out is such a wonderful game, might I add. If I'm not mistaken, that would be Slosher Waylord, a really good runner, and yeah, just a wonderful game overall. Also, shout out to Helix13_, the person that introduced me to this game with their one of their live runs that they did. I've seen a lot of people do Rolled Out, and just big shout out to the dev. It definitely feels like a wonderful spiritual Monkey Ball successor. It's so cool. And I actually didn't realize that the new characters came out recently until I read the incentive description, so great on them. Progress made, for sure. Alright, so now we're in Neon Tiger stage, and as you can see, we are now about to enter a jungle section, which takes a little bit of inspiration from Sting Chameleon's level. The one thing absent is that we don't have slowly, I guess, quicksand, slowly descending quicksand-like muck or whatever. Instead, they put in spikes, but it's no problem. We're gonna fight the Tiger Man himself, and the one nice thing about the New Game Plus category is that we actually do have his weakness. See, all weaknesses are put in a full cycle of 8, and what this means is that normally you can't access one Maverick's weapon in Zero Mission or X Mission because it comes from a Maverick within one of the others' campaign. So in this case, we got Tunnel Rhino, whose weapon is the weakness of Tiger here. Just one more hit there. Okay, that was definitely something, because I know not a lot of people are used to seeing him collapse like that. This is one of the nice things about exploring some of the other sides of Xtreme 2 that people don't often think about and stuff. But yeah, that's all 4 Mavericks. Oops, looks like my controller is having a little bit of trouble there. Oh no, that's well, this has certainly not happened before during any of my runs.
Uh-oh, we've had a never happened before moment.
Yes! It's not the first time I've said that either. Okay. Don't worry, thankfully my controller is really just connected through a mini USB cable, and thankfully Gambate is more than willing to reconnect with it. Sometimes emulators don't like to be so kind. They like to be a little specific, but yeah. So we got all 4 Mavericks, we got quite a bit of DNA souls, and it's at this point that I am going to pick up just a couple of parts, and I think we'll stop. Oh, well, I guess the game wanted me to get one more. I was going to say we're going to stop there, but I bought the Buster Plus 2 part, the part that essentially halves the amount of weapon ammo consumption, and the barrier extender, which was by accident, but hey, that's perfectly fine. So we've entered the late half of the game, and this is where things get interesting, because this was actually the first X game to introduce a proper character swap between X and Zero. You may know that in X3, Zero was first formally playable and stuff, but unfortunately by design, the game didn't let you take him into bosses and stuff. So, at the time this game came out, which was 2001, the latest game to come out was Mega Man X5, so the precedent was you could only enter a stage as either X or Zero, or play an entire campaign as X or Zero in the case of X4. But here, this was the first game to foster the character swap, which would be seen later in the infamous X7, as well as the underrated X8. So it's a really cool thing to see here, and I almost forgot to equip the Buster Plus 2 near immediately, but the reason I bring that up is because now I can switch to Zero at any time in the game until the last level, because in the third fortress stage where you face off against Bracana or Gareth, once you complete the first half of it, the game wants you to face off against that boss as the particular character who would, normally take them down. So that's one of the reasons why X Mission and Zero Mission actually makes for some decent bid war material, because it's all dependent on the Mavericks it's all based on the Mavericks you see. I guess the strats as well, but also the final boss, that too. Alright, so now we're entering Fortress Stage 2. By the way, that boss was Velgarder. You normally see him accompanying Sigma at the end of X1, and we didn't quite have the Hadouken, but our Busted Buster will take the Wolfo down, no problem, because as much as I like to pet him, he's not as friendly as Rush from the classic series, so sad but true.
No petting the dog, sad.
Anyway, this is Stage 2, though, and this is where things get intriguing, because for those who've played this game casually, you might recall having trouble with a particular boss at the late game section, and this is that level. The name is Oh, come on, game! Okay, that was a little Butterfingers moment. I will say it's not the first time that's happened, but I was looking pretty good deathless earlier. Oh well. Marathon luck, sometimes the game knows. Shoutouts to my friend LOZ Cards Fan 23 who always says that phrase. But yes. As I was saying, the boss in this level is Isazan Suilo, which is colloquially known as the Sphinx Tank. And he's a huge fella. He takes up a lot of screen space, and so the normal issues that players have with him, or them, because technically the name accounts for two heads, is that he likes to come very close to you, and he can be very damage heavy. You're about to see for yourself, but I will switch to Zero to make this a little more interesting, because I did want to equip the parts that I got for him. So here's Zero, our Red Maverick friend. Oop. I heard the damage sound effect activate just as I entered the pause menu. Okay, one more time. And a quick nifty tidbit about unlocking the ability to switch as the other character is that they're fully armored from the get-go. Oh my god, can you not? Wow. He was showing a bit of boss rage there. Oh, this is actually kind of bad. Please shoot. Oh! Oh, man, I almost had him. Well, now you know why he likes to be infamous, because as I was somewhat alluding to, his projectiles come very close to you, and because his main body takes up a lot of screen space, it's just not fun to deal with, and there's hardly a time where you're not getting damaged. Bad news is you can't switch between the two characters when you're in iframes, so if you're stuck in a position, you're kind of stuck in a position, and you gotta hope to God, or RNGesus, that things lighten up just a little.
I believe. Rage.
Well, there you go. That he's down, and that just takes us to one more level, so let's get ready to party as we make our way to get the last... Oh, not again. Please, thank you. Okay, I was gonna say, this is... I'm gonna have to investigate that a little later. It's probably just the cable being a little loose in the port. I don't know what's going on really, but... Oh well. Anyway, the last stage. So, as I mentioned, I can switch between the two characters. In fact, I will. Zero's gameplay mainly consists of him using his saber combat like in X4 and no buster option like in X5. Or X3, sadly, but yeah. We got a bit of a long dialogue cutscene here, so oh, well, before I give the floor to the host again, I will say that Zero does come with the air dash from the get-go. He can't do it vertically, but he can do it horizontally, so there's that. Anyway, Usurpering, go ahead and say a few things.
Thank you very much, and I would just like to plug a charity a little bit more as well. Not only does Movember benefit men's mental health, it also benefits men's physical health, predominantly fighting against cancer. Did you know that prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer in men in the United States? Globally, more than 1.3 million men are diagnosed with prostate cancer each year. That is a very horrible and just alarming fact. Across the country, there are more than 3 million men living with and beyond the disease, and many are dealing with serious side effects from the treatment that they do get, for example, such as radiotherapy, everything like that. Movember spent years in prostate cancer research. In that time, they pushed progress forward around 50 years by thinking differently, collaborating globally, and investing quickly in what works. Also, just want to reach out and shout out real quick. we do have a naming wall for Rolled Out Summer Surprise. We have Flotsam the Axolotl, Rook the Field Unit, and Guava the Koala. At the moment, Rook the Field Unit is in the lead. That's coming up right after this run. If you don't want to donate to any of those, that's totally cool. We have some Pokemon Soul Silver, 80% glitchless run coming up, where you can name the Cyndaquil, you can name the Gyarados, and the Snorlax. So get your donations in, and let's see some creativity of the names.
I love me a good name bid war, and if I ever have a little bit of time, I'm definitely going to have to see if I can't ship in a possible naming option. Ooh, come on.
It's super funny. At the moment, Snorlax has a $4 lead with Big Chibu, and Gyarados has, I think, a $5 for Big Fish. So
that's beautiful.
That is very cute.
So unfortunately, for those who didn't catch along, the unfortunate death I took at this big section that requires the use of the leg parts, and yes, this is actually 100% required, no pun intended. So yeah, I almost had a clean enough dismount and stuff. It's just, yeah, this can be a bit troublesome sometimes. Okay, whew. Basically, I just fell into the instant kill electricity, and I also did it again, so that's kind of a bit of time loss that nobody likes to see, but it is what it is at this point. Sometimes that's marathon luck for you. But yeah, otherwise, it's good to know that this third fortress stage is very short in length. Like, if nothing else, it's probably like the least punishing in that regard, assuming that you don't necessarily get a game over. But anyway, let's see if we get 100%. Yes, we do, because I just walked into that fake electric wall right there, and if you have every armor piece, life up, and the sub-tank and X mission collected, you get that final armor capsule to get the Hadouken and Shoryuken. Now, another reason we don't see them is because they're actually tied to the charge shot, and as long as I have rapid fire on, I can't charge up, so sadly, at this point, I don't think I'll have time to demonstrate, but it's okay because we're now entering Bracana. We don't like the alphabet because she likes to use A and B against us. If an orb of that letter hits me, then it locks that particular button for a while, and she'll either turn the floor or walls into spikes while also trying to pelt me with some kind of cyber magic. But time will end at the final hit, so let's get ready on time, and here we go. And time.
GG.
Whew. And that, my friends, is 100% New Game Plus X Mission. Thank you so much for meeting the bid war. Again, it means a lot to me to be able to debut this. And here's hoping that we'll see some more cool possibilities with it soon, because like I said, when you start a New Game Plus run, your DNA souls essentially carry over from the previous playthrough to this file. So there are a lot of parts to really choose from. The only thing is that, and I did forget to mention this, X and Zero do have part limits. You can only equip 4 parts to an unarmored X, and when he does have his full armor, that does drop to 2. And Zero has a max of 3 parts, but honestly, the potential that I'm seeing with the Zero New Game Plus route is already looking really wonderful. And the fact that you can immediately buy the armor for X without having to consider doing 100% collectibles is quite funny on its own. It's almost like the ultimate armor category you might have seen in some X games, but overall, again, just thank you for having me, Team Velocity. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this run. If you want to follow me, my name is TempestMask1000, both here and on YouTube. I also would like to give a quick shout out to the Mega Man X community, because not a lot of us run this game. So big shout out to K Poisson, the world record holder for a lot of the categories, to the leaderboard, to my good pal Focus Sight, who holds the 100% Xtreme world record, and to anyone who's run this game and submitted a time on the leaderboard. If you want to join our server, you can find a link on the Mega Man RTA leaderboards. There's a little page for all the different community discords of the Mega Man games. We'd love to have you. New runners and new faces in general are always appreciated. And I guess that's basically it. If you want to see me run this category again, I do have some other events coming up in due time, so I usually try to post them on my Twitter at SteveVortexVA. I'm gonna work on a better name though, because I'm thinking of a dedicated speedrun Twitter, but that one's called that for reasons. Oh well. So anyway, with that said, I'm just going to we're just gonna let things keep on rolling because coming up next is Rolled Out.